You know, when we think about building software, we usually focus on the exciting parts, right? The brilliant coders, the big launch day. But what happens after that? What happens when a piece of software is supposed to last for decades, long after the original team is gone? Well, that's the hidden challenge we're going to dive into.
This is a huge problem for any long-term project. I mean, think about it. When the people who built the thing aren't around anymore, who knows how to fix it? Who knows how to update it? This is what's known as the handoff nightmare. It's that moment where all that crucial knowledge just evaporates, leaving a billion-dollar system totally vulnerable.
Here's a way to think about it. Imagine someone hands you the keys to some super advanced vehicle. Only it's not a car, it's the targeting system for a fighter jet. And you have no manual, no idea how the engine works, not a clue what any of the blinking lights mean. You're left with this incredibly powerful machine that's completely useless, or even worse, it's a ticking time bomb.
And when we're talking about national security, a botched software handoff isn't just a headache. The consequences can be catastrophic. We're talking grounded fleets, silent communication networks, compromised defense systems. So the billion-dollar question is, how do you stop that from happening? How do you build something that can actually outlive the people who made it?
Well, it turns out the US military came up with a pretty robust solution. And it's not just some checklist they throw together at the last minute. Oh no. It is a comprehensive master blueprint designed for this exact problem. It's called the Software Transition Plan, or STrP for short, and it's basically engineered to prevent chaos by planning for, well, everything.
So here's the official definition. The goal is to ensure lifecycle support by transitioning the software to a support agency. Let's break down what that really means. This isn't just about dumping a bunch of code on someone's desk. It's about giving a brand new team everything they need to take over and run this thing for its entire life, which could be decades.
And here it is. This is the actual document. Now, I know, it might look like a boring piece of government paperwork. But trust me, you should think of this as the ultimate insurance policy for software. This is the rulebook that makes sure a project has a future. So let's crack it open and see what's inside.
So what is actually in this master plan? Well, the first big piece is all about the resources. And by that, I mean all the physical and digital stuff you need to keep the system going. The plan requires a complete and total inventory of everything.
The plan breaks it down into 4 main areas. First, you've got the facilities. We're talking the actual buildings. Then the hardware, every single computer, every server. Next up, the software, every tool, every license, all the code. And finally, the documentation, which becomes the absolute source of truth for the whole system.
And the level of detail they require here is just staggering. For facilities, the plan asks for specs on everything from raised flooring for all the cables to advanced security like tempest shielding. That's a special type of construction that literally stops electronic signals from leaking out of a room so no one can eavesdrop. They're planning the exact walls that will protect the project's future. It's wild.
The whole goal here is to let the new team perfectly replicate the original setup. So for hardware, that means listing the exact models and versions of computers. For software, it's even more specific. You need version numbers for compilers, for special case tools, the whole shebang. It's all about creating a perfect digital clone of the development environment so there are absolutely no surprises for the new team. Okay, but a successful handoff isn't just about having the right gear and code. I mean, you can have all the best tools in the world, but if you don't have the right people to use them, the whole project is just doomed. And that's why the second part of this blueprint is all about the human element.
The STrP demands a super detailed plan for the people side of things. You have to spell out exactly how many people you'll need, what specific skills they need to have, and what security clearances are required. But then it goes even further. You have to lay out a complete training program, right down to the schedule, the location, and a precise mix of classroom learning versus actual hands-on practice with the system.
All right, so we've got the resources and we've got the people. But how do you actually do the handoff? This is where the plan stops being a list and becomes a step-by-step action guide. It's like a detailed choreography for the entire transition.
The plan maps this out with, well, military precision. First, you itemize every single task that needs to happen. Second, you assign clear roles and responsibilities, so there is zero confusion about who's doing what. Third, you create a detailed timeline with very specific milestones. And finally, you define the exact procedures for installing and testing everything, so there's no question that the transition was a success.
So, after hearing about all this insane detail, you might be thinking, is all this really necessary? Let's zoom out for a second and look at the big picture. This kind of planning, This is what makes the difference between order and chaos, between success and total failure.
And really, the contrast couldn't be more stark. With a plan like this, you get order, you get clarity. All that crucial knowledge is preserved. But without it, you get chaos and confusion, knowledge gets lost forever, and that leads to a high risk of failure and just tons of wasted time and money.
Let's go back to that key phrase from the beginning, lifecycle support. That is the endgame here. This whole thing isn't just about a one-time handoff. It's about empowering a new generation to carry the torch forward, to support, maintain, and evolve a critical system for its entire life. This plan isn't just a document, it's a bridge to the future.
Now, the military developed this incredibly rigorous blueprint because for them, the stakes are about as high as it gets. But, these principles apply to pretty much any major project. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. For your most important long-term projects, what's your master blueprint for making sure they survive?